Welcome to the Morning Crossfire. And today is Friday. We're celebrating International Women's Day in advance. Yes, because it's coming up over the weekend. We're also looking at a story done by a female journalist on the partnership with the Wole Center for Investigative Journalism. She's done a fabulous story on forced child marriages in Nigeria. We'll focus on this and also talk about International Women's Day. And remember that every Friday we have this series coming up, which is an offshoot of the many developmental programs organized by the Wole Center for Investigative Journalism. Today, we'll be doing two things together, looking at this story and also looking at International Women's Day. I also have some fellows from the program who have been under this in previous years joining on the show. They're also female reporters, and we'll talk about this today. Our story today focuses on Shola Shoyele's story. She's a journalist with Channel Television, and her story will be engaging us for the next 1.5 hours. I'm sure you will have a fabulous time as usual. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Welcome to the show. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info 99.3. We're also on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. You can join us when you also call in on the show. I'll give you the phone number. Oh, yeah. Now, I remember that. We have one number that you can call for now while we fix the others. But this number will lead you to all the others when you dial them. And then I can hear from you. The number is, you should put it down now, 0700 993 993 993. Easy to remember. 0700 993 993 993. You can also leave your thoughts on WhatsApp 08095 975805. Let's give you some numbers. Research reveals that the United Nations International Children's Education Fund, that's UNICEF, regards a child as any person below the age of 18, while child marriage refers to any formal marriage or informal union between people, between a child and an adult, or between a child and another child. If you're looking at the statistics on child marriage, child activists will tell you, if anybody looking at the details will tell you that child marriage not only serves as a limit to an individual's human rights, it also leads to subtle poverty, inequality in communities and countries, especially in underdeveloped countries. And we're looking at the issue today. It's not just, I know many of you will say it's a northern thing. No, it's not just a northern thing. It's across the country. I'll look at more details just in a moment. Joining me on the show right now is Abosede Omori. She's with TVC News. She's one of the fellows. Hi, Bosse. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Wemimo.
Good to see you.
Good to see
She's
you
also
too,
an expo on the report we meant. Let me. Right, and she's here with me this morning to talk about these issues today. So if you're joining us, you know how we love to do it is to take your opinion first on the matter. So I give you the phone number again, and you can call in and tell me what you think about number one, child marriage, as we also commemorate the International Women's Day. International Women's Day this year draws attention to the issue of equality. If you remember the show we had a while ago on World Justice Day, it was pretty interesting because we had we talked about closing the inequality gap, and we had quite a conversation. Interestingly, all my guests were men and they had a quarrel between themselves, some saying no, there is no gender inequality in Nigeria, especially in the workplaces. But you also told me what to think. So let me hear from you first. Again, if you'd like to call in, the number is 0700 993 993 993 0700 993 993 993. Welcome to the show. All right, let's start here. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning to you. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Prince, calling from Lekki.
Your name is Prince?
Prince Will, I'm calling from
Will.
Lekki.
All right, welcome to the show.
Yes, I am not totally in conformity with the word gender inequality. So when you say inequality, in what aspect are you referring to? Your profession? Are you referring to What aspect, basically? And if I have a company and I'm trying to employ, I take the best hands. And if the best hands are males, why would you want to criticize me for that? So I like you to be specific. In what compartment of life are you referring to?
In what areas do you disagree that there is gender inequality?
In what area?
Yes, you say you don't agree that there's gender inequality.
Yes, to me, I don't see it as an issue. I think it's overbloated and overblown, basically. I think it's overblown.
You think it's overblown that there's inequality?
Yes, gender inequality. Yes, I think it's actually overblown. I'm sorry, that's just my personal opinion.
You don't need to apologize. That's what you think, but let's see what the numbers and the figures and stats are telling us. Thank you for calling. Good morning. Hello? Hello? Okay, I can't hear you. Please try call us again. The number again is 0700 993 993 993, and you can call. My first caller says he disagrees that there's anything called gender inequality. He says it's overblown, overbloated. We talk too much about it. Maybe, I think it was just shy of saying it's non-existent. But don't worry, I have females in the studio. They'll give you a good response just in a moment. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Adeshina.
Adeshina, welcome to the show.
Yes, are we talking about gender inequality or we're talking about early marriage?
Both. If you listen to my intro, yes, we're doing both today.
Let me take it from the part of early marriage.
Okay.
This is what I think about it, and I feel it is very heartbreaking that Nigeria is leading that train. Because we are not separated into different, we are all Nigerians. So if we are talking to a part of Nigeria, we should just come out to say Nigeria. Because there are very risks involved. There are a lot of risks involved. We are talking about illiteracy rate in Nigeria increasing from a part of Nigeria. Early marriage could actually be a cause of illiteracy, because when you force a child to get married as early as 12, 13, now, what's the point of getting married? In one way or the other, the child will get pregnant. That's early pregnancy, which has its own medical side effects, which can lead to probably immature pelvic expansion, cesarean section. Generally, relating it to poverty, you might not be able to afford cesarean section, loss of life.
Right.
People are dying, they are killing people. Illiteracy will increase. Is it the child that get married at 13? Is it the mother at 14 that would encourage her own child to go to school? No, it's not very possible, because all of these things burns out and brings down our economy. Domestic violence will be there, because a child that gets married at 13 can never be emotionally intelligent.
My first caller insists that there is almost nothing called gender inequality. Do you agree with that?
There is gender inequality, I must confess, because my question is, how many male secretary have your last caller seen? You should answer the question. How many male secretary has this seen? How many top female CEOs have you seen? It's the percentage. I'm looking at the percentage of the world. Statistics have shown that we have more females than male.
Yeah. The number.
Now, why is the male not dominating the industry? That's the question that needs to be asked.
Let me ask it from another caller. Good morning. Okay, you're not there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the show.
I don't understand the first guy that called. My name is Wisdom, actually. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you. Go ahead.
Yes. So when the first guy said that he doesn't understand inequality, it doesn't really get to me. So, you see, Nigeria is not making any effort in this area at all. And if you look at it, there's serious gender inequality, starting from even the ministry downwards. For example, our federal ministers, that was appointed recently, we have only 7 women. So are they saying they are not qualified women across board to be able to get 50-50? If South Africa could do it, let's do it. So, but I'm not saying that when we are employing, we should simply employ anybody because he's a woman or she's a woman or anything. No, get the best hand, but give everybody equal opportunity and assess them equally and pick the best hand from them. It's basically what we are saying. We're not saying you should just give women opportunity because they are women, but make sure you give them the same opportunity you are giving the men. And if you look at all sectors, look into it critically, you see that there are issues that have not been addressed as regards gender equality. I don't want to go into the military or the army, so that's another issue for another day.
Yeah.
But in corporate Nigeria, in businesses, as we employ, as entrepreneurs, please let us give everybody equal opportunity. There are some employers that will basically not employ you because you're a woman. So it's unfair, truly. And it happens. Let nobody deny that it doesn't happen. It does.
Thank you for calling. Let me take one more call before we continue. Good morning.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Yes, good morning to you.
Yes, Femi from Surulere.
Welcome to the show, Femi.
It's kind of funny and it's kind of bizarre that in 2020 we're still talking about underage marriage and all that, where the Western world are already on the level of artificial intelligence, big data, and machine learning and all that. Unfortunately, the problem is the people who are supposed to be in the position of checkmating them are actually perpetrators too. Because we will find some years ago.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, your line is breaking, but let's try it again.
Yes, there was a senator who wanted to marry a 13-year-old some years ago.
He did.
Can you hear me?
He didn't want to. He did it.
Oh, he actually did?
Oh, yes,
wow.
he did. Oh, yes, he did.
Can you imagine if somebody in such a position of authority is doing that? What will you tell the people who are your followers? It's kind of funny, and I don't know why we are supposed to tell these people that these things are wrong and we shouldn't be doing it in this modern age. So who is the person who is going to checkmate the people at the lower class if those at the top are doing it?
Thank you very much. Now, let me welcome my guests. You know, I like to hear from you first before we get the conversation going, but have a full house. Like I told my first caller, the ladies are here, so they'll give you a good response. It says it almost thinks we're overflogging inequality issues. Well, I have joining me in the studio. I introduced Abosede Omori earlier on. I also have Funke Fayemi joining me here this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you.
And also, I have joining me Mrs. Phil Ineji. She's the State Secretary of the Federation of International Women Lawyers. The chairperson of the Federation of International Women Lawyers, FIDA. You know what? Your mic is on. Just go ahead and say it. Your mic is on.
Well, it's not Federation of Women Lawyers. We are International Federation of Women Lawyers. FIDA, really, as we are fondly called, is not an English acronym. It's a Spanish acronym, meaning Federación Internacional de Abogadas.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you. Let me start off with our first caller who got every other caller talking, and I'm starting with you. He believes that there is no gender inequality. In fact, that was the conversation on the show when we're talking about World Social Justice Day, and I asked if there was justice in terms of equity, both at the workplace. So, do you think that we're overflogging the issue of inequality, especially focusing on women?
I don't think it's been overflogged. Looking at the issue of the fact that since 1995 of Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action, nothing tangible really has happened. No nation, no country can claim to have achieved gender equality, and that's very unfortunate. Looking at Nigeria on our political space, in almost all the 36 states of the Federation, we can more or less acknowledge and accept that it is only Lagos State that has been able to do something tangible with respect to the number of women in the cabinet. Other ones are just something else. And we all know that 35% affirmative action is imperative. But they have not done something much. Rather than something happening the way we have been pushing it to happen, is more or less not getting to there yet.
So the argument I've heard people put up when we've had the conversations around this is the women are not putting themselves forward to be elected. And like one of the callers say, we don't go just ferrying for them and say because we need women on the cabinet. Do you think the women are showing up?
Of course, the women are showing up. But the encouragement is not there. and it's not helping matters. Look at what just happened last time, few weeks ago, that has to do with the justice under Cross River.
Mm-hmm.
Can we say that one to be that the woman didn't put herself forward? She's the person that's supposed to be on that position based on the constitutional provision. Then somebody is trying to look at it from the angle of tribalistic, whatever. It's not supposed to be. It's clear injustice. And it also has to do with the issue of gender inequality.
Now that you've taken us to Cross River State, let's stay with that. I'm sure we're all familiar with that story. So the person who should be sworn in as the chief judge, the governor said she's not from the state. So here we go. Typically in Nigeria, when you get married as a woman, you claim, or you then, your father comes from, say, Ogun State. All your life you said, I'm from Ogun State. Now you get married to someone from Cross River State, say, then you are now from Cross River State. Someone put up a tweet recently and said women are internally displaced persons because then you neither belong here nor there. Funke Fayemi, what do you make of this?
Well, for me, the moment you're married, because the kind of community we find ourselves, we marry from different parts of Nigeria. You can be a Yoruba, marry from Hausa person, and you're taken from maybe Lagos State to northern Nigeria, and you live there all your life, go to work there, your children school there, and to me, you should be seen as someone from Kano State. You might be a Yoruba person, but because you are married to a Hausa man, you are entitled to the things your husband is entitled to in the state. There is no way I'll leave my husband in Kano State, come back to Lagos State, and start saying, oh, I want to have a say totally in Lagos State.
Why shouldn't you have a say in Lagos State? You spend all your years.
I could have say in Lagos State. I'm not saying because I moved to Kano State, I'm no more a Lagosian. But it should be like, wherever you find yourself as a woman, be accepted, be given free, a fair share of everything in the state you find yourself.
That means the woman will have access to 2 states.
Yes.
When the men can come for us on this one and say, so you are having access to 2 states. Well, actually in Nigeria, a Nigerian should have access in any state.
You find yourself. And more so because of marriage. Marriage is something that is very serious. We don't look at it on the surface. Let us go deep down. A woman leaves everything she's got. All her life, she'll give it back to the man and say, I want to live with you all for the rest of my life. Why would you say this woman is not entitled to say, to offices, to things she has worked for over the years? Is it that she does not merit it? Has she not gone to school? These are things we should look at. The moment you have equipped yourself, you merit what you're asking for. Let the world be fair on the woman.
In case you're missing out on what we're talking about, in Cross River State, the most senior judge is Akon Ikpeme, and she ought to be sworn in and appointed as a chief judge in accordance with the Nigerian constitution. But the controversy that ensued is to say she's not originally from Cross River State. She married into Cross River State, so she's not from Cross River State and can't take that position. I know this is a very tricky conversation and the lines are buzzing, but I must ask your take on this. Right. It's a tough one. Why don't the men? So I'm originally assuming, I'm not going to tell you guys where I'm from, by the way. So assuming I'm from Plateau State and then I marry someone from Osun State, why is it not taking on my... Why is it not changing and saying, no, now I'm from Plateau State. Why am I the one taking on where it's from? I know it's a cultural thing, but does our constitution support or back this up? Is there a way we've legalized this? No?
So the thing is, when we talk gender equality, I believe in leaving no one behind. So we're talking about giving the women more opportunities. We're equally talking about having the men support the vision and they themselves getting equal opportunities because it has to be fair, it has to be balanced. Earlier, you asked Funke a question about why should the woman be entitled to two locations, where she was born and now where she's married to. The man too can do same. We've seen in Lagos people who are not originally Lagosians who have been able to get some positions because they stayed here.
Some of them are commissioners right now.
Yes, they stayed here, they worked here, they pay their taxes, and they contribute something to the society. So I wouldn't now imagine that a woman who has herself done same would be deprived of that simply because she's a woman. So I know it's a cultural thing. Okay, so the woman takes over the man's tribe, ethnicity, and all of that. But wherever that woman is per time, so far that woman has the capability to deliver. I believe she should get that opportunity.
These phone lines are tempting me. Let's hear what they have to say on this one. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okoyemi, go ahead.
My name is Okoyemi.
Okay.
What I want to say concerning that woman is, even when she got married, the Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State, they are one state. Automatically, she should have opportunity to be any of the states. Because she married 40 years ago. Then Akwa Ibom and Cross River State, they are one state. But having said that, women sometimes, I want to ask you a question. This morning now, people have been calling your station. How many women have you called your station this morning? Those are the things they need to even consider. They should put themselves more.
Okay, you're saying the women should even do more. That is why we created a phone number for women. And it's a big, that's what I was asking you, do women come forward? So this is a 1.5 hour show. And like you said, how many women have called? So we have a dedicated phone number for women to call on. We are all women here. Can you tell me can I ask you why women don't call? Maybe when the women call, they tell me why they don't call often. But are there things that naturally just make women unable to participate as much as men do?
This is morning. It's time for breakfast.
School runs.
In a typical home, the woman at the moment is busy, either dropping the kids off in school, trying to fix breakfast for the husband, trying to get on with her business. We are in Lagos, where you need to plan some extra, maybe 3 hours to get to your location if you know you want to be there right on time. So women are busy. It's not like we're trying to give excuses for women and saying that, we've not also done our best. We've not performed optimally. But I tell you, there are some things limiting women from actually getting to where they should be. So at this point, for instance, Wemimo, women are busy.
Women are busy. Tony is at Ikorodu. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. What I want to contribute is, when a woman married to somewhere, that woman has been there for his own life. Whatever the title is, it will be given to that woman. Nigeria, we are not going anywhere. We are thinking backward. It's full of corruption everywhere. So they're supposed to give that woman the title because it's married to that place. They bear that man's name. Bye.
Bye. See you too. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, Wally. That's my name.
Welcome, Wally.
Yeah, I'm calling from Agbara in the state.
Good to have you here.
Okay.
Hello, Wally. Yes, okay.
Good morning. This is Smith.
Hello. Okay, I don't know what happened there, but let's see. Okay, let me tell you that we also have WhatsApp up, 08095975805, and the messages are pouring in. Okay, so let's start from here. What someone says, wait a minute, please, what is the need for this so-called gender equality? How does it affect humanity? They're asking, why are you calling for gender equality? Ikena from Mojo also says, the truth is there are jobs that are best suitable for women and they should occupy such. Let me state the fact, gender equality is not obtainable. These are all men talking to me this morning. I need the women to also talk. Good morning, Nigeria Info. God did not create man and woman equally. Besides, most of Nigerian women are arrogant and there's no way we can be equal. That's coming from James Timzin from Bariga. Wow. Equality is not possible. Are you guys listening to what I'm hearing here? Equality is not possible. Nigerian cases where women are marginalizing men. Really? Visit classrooms from primary to university. Females are more. Go to organizations and companies and see women have taken most of the positions. If there is anywhere men marginalize women, women are not coming up. I don't know what you mean by that. It says use Nigeria Info FM for example. How many women are calling after dedicating a number for them? And when we gave them this number, it was a tug of war. Men were saying, "Why are you giving the women the numbers?"
Well, let's leave that. Let's first address what this individual was talking about: having more women, having more females in the classrooms. It's simply because they are smart. I mean, they are open to it. They are more outspoken. They are go-getters. They can manage the home as well as manage career, manage different things. So it's easy for them. Somehow already there is some, patriarchal thing entrenched in the society. So the man feels is entitled to some things. Therefore, even from the very young age, there might just be that feeling of, oh, I don't need to do more. There is already a whole lot set up for me. But the woman knows that she has to go all out and get things done by herself if she must make something for herself. And that's the reason we're talking about changing the narrative. And in the course of changing the narrative, leaving no one behind.
How do we change this narrative, Mrs. Sineji? I mean, you heard the comment. They're saying, guys, you ladies just stop talking. Equality is never possible. Says, God didn't even make us equal. And one thing, let me point out on this, says, God created us differently. The man is different from the woman. So there are jobs better suited for women. So just stay there and leave the men with the rest. Do you agree with this?
Well, I will not totally agree to that, because women naturally are very hardworking. And apart from that, we should not allow most of the things that have always constituted impediment with respect to them being able to occupy some positions. In as much as, yes, we might agree to a certain extent that there are certain jobs that might fit women.
Like what jobs?
Well, some jobs that requires women to either be with children, because the man, yes, or something that has to do with, we can say cooking, but that doesn't mean that men cannot cook or they shouldn't cook. I'm just trying to touch all those areas because of what he said anyway.
So I'm going to disagree with you big time on that one. So I wanted you to tell me those jobs. So when you say cooking and staying with children, are you saying that women are naturally, they were created to cook and tend children?
I haven't said that.
So why are those jobs better suited for women?
It's not really that it's better suited. Understand me very well.
Okay.
I'm just trying to balance it up for the man who talked about it. In as much as, yes, we can give it to our women when it comes to those areas I've touched. That doesn't mean that they must remain in that particular position and they should not explore other areas that the good Lord has, made available for them. There shouldn't be that barriers when they're willing and they're ready to occupy those positions.
Funke was shaking her head when you were talking, but I'm coming to you because I need to head up for a break now. The phone lines are just all over the place. I know we're going to have a fantastic conversation. We're still expecting Shola to join us so we can talk about her story on forced child marriage. For now, we're talking about equality because, interestingly, the theme for this year focuses on equality for all. Yes, each for equal. So it's not just interest. Well, you might make sure that we're talking about women more, but we are more interested in balancing the equation. So it's not one way. But all the men who have sent me messages are saying, ladies, forget about it. There's nothing like inequality is not happening now. It's not happening tomorrow.
And then because men know that we're talking about women, they want to stay there and get their voices heard.
And I'd like to hear those voices. And please, women, I'd love you to also call in. If you don't have a number again, it's 0700 993 993 993. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. We're back after this break. Don't go away.
#1 talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
Welcome back, and the phone lines are just, I have Dorcas on the line. I must go to the phones immediately. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Here is Dorcas. Dorcas, good morning.
Good morning.
Finally, I got me a lady calling. Welcome. You know, I have a bias for female callers, right? They all know, but it's okay. It's okay. Welcome to the show.
I'm to be the first female caller this morning.
Yes, you are. You are. They've been accusing you all of not calling, but here you are. Welcome to the show.
Great job you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nigeria Info. I want to really say hi to Mrs. Ineji. She's my chairperson. I'm a member of FIDA Lagos.
Yay.
And the other lady there. God bless your heart and the good work you're doing. Okay, my point is this. The society needs to do more advocacy for gender parity. Then, thank God the narrative is changing at the moment. But then, we need to do a continuous work. It must be shown in our profession where we work, in churches too. Because sometimes in churches, these things they don't talk about it. For instance, there was a time we were supposed to give a talk in the church, and I was meant to stand beneath the pulpit. You know the reason for that? Women don't stand on the altar.
Wow.
That was the reason for making me to stand beneath the pulpit. So we need to take this narrative to different sectors of the community, the church, the school, the working environment, and all of that. Advocacy, deep advocacy still needs to be carried out. Thank you so
Thank you so much, Dorcas, for calling and for being the first female call on the show. Shola is on the line from Festac. Shola, welcome to the show.
Auntie Wemimo, good morning, ma'am.
Uncle Shola, good morning, sir.
God bless you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You see, I know a whole lot of people will come after me, so this is what I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
I am just 39 years. I'll be 39 by November this year. And I'm married. I have a daughter. You see, the reason why people think gender inequality is not attainable is because of their inferiority. As a man, when you are bold enough, you make things, you throw things open, then everything to the law of nature, it responds to you automatically. Go back to the Bible, go and study the scripture very well. I'm sorry that I'm saying this on national radio.
Mm-hmm.
I tell my wife, woman, if tomorrow you wanted to become anything, the first person you will see behind you is me. I don't forget she's my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Let me talk to you. If she happens to be the president of this nation tomorrow, I'll be her PA. That's what I tell my wife.
Wow. I don't give Shekere on the Morning Crossfire, but cheers for you.
I'll be your PA. That's what I tell my wife. And you know what, for this, people will say, when God created Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, God knew somebody just had to be in charge. That's why he put man. So my own understanding, you see, that is why you see a whole lot of marriage fails these days. I am the man. And yet there are things that you will put man in charge. Forget it. Just go and sleep. God bless you, Auntie Wemimo. Good morning.
Sure. Thank you so much for calling. Let me speak now. Oh dear. Okay, I think I lost that line. Now, let me come back to this conversation. I mean, I thought we were going to do this for just 30 minutes, but it looks like this is a thing. The theme for this year, again, drives around I am generation equality. Realizing women's rights. And many of you have said, let me go back to WhatsApp. I see more interesting comments there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Equality is not possible. Nigerian cases where, I think I read this earlier. When women say, because they are women, they should be given power, responsibility, and position on a platter of gold, then it is not gender equality, but injustice to other genders. And I will agree with you. We're not saying give women the post just because they are women. No. But if they deserve it, let them have equal opportunities to get it. It says, are women willing to begin to pay bridegroom price, marriage list, pay house rent year in, year out, school fees, house and feeding the family to prove equality with a man? Or is equality all about privileges and rights, not responsibilities? Peter from Ikotu. This is a tough one. Mr. Neji.
Well, the fact that we are all trying to say that the narrative should be changed doesn't mean that men should start waiting for women to pay bride price. And that doesn't mean that the right thing shouldn't be done. In fact, we can choose to change the stereotypes, to change or to fight against discrimination and what have you. No matter how you're looking at it, gender equality will always pave way for better life, happier homes, security, so to speak. Everything, harmonious living, name it.
Okay.
So, you see, an equal world is an enabled world.
Mm-hmm.
When we're enabled, that means I don't have to depend totally on the man. The man doesn't have to depend totally on me. We both rub our hands together, move up together.
Mm-hmm.
The load won't be too much on the man. It won't be too much on the woman. You see, this year marks the 5th year of the gender review of the Sustainable Development Goals. And why this is coming, why this came at that time is because gender equality is still key. And women need to be empowered, and girls. If there is nothing wrong in the system that makes the woman to always face discrimination, always struggle to get things, there won't be need for the world to be saying equality, equality, equality. It shows that everywhere a woman gets to, she's faced with one thing or the other that draws her back. Even with the education, like Bosse said, in schools we have more of girls. But when it gets to decision-making levels, what happens?
Even at entry level, at many offices, you see that females are employed.
So what happens?
But the higher you go on that ladder, the fewer
we
women
see
there are.
up there.
Where have they gone
What
to?
happens? Our society makes the woman to feel less of herself at times. They discriminate against you. They let you feel, oh, you are a woman, this post is not meant for a woman. You have your kids at home, who will take care of them? When I was coming this morning, I took Taxify. The guy told me that there are 2 boys in his family, and he cannot joke with his sisters and his mother, because these are the people that are the backbone of the family.
What I'm trying to even
struggling, but the girls are making it. They're finding it easy. They multitask. They do
what I'm yet unable to wrap my mind around, and I understand that this is a very cultural society, is how 2 human beings who were born with brains, functional body parts, and everything suddenly cannot compete on the same level.
Favorably.
I mean, suddenly it's about what gender you are. Job roles gender-based?
Goes back to the
are they bent? If to be an accountant, does it matter if you're male or female to be a good accountant or a good doctor?
We've seen male and female doctors, male and female nurses, although for now we have more female nurses.
Because we think it's
a female thing.
It's for the women.
In fact, I see people discriminate against male nurses. Like, what are you doing here?
It's sad, and just as you mentioned, this role shouldn't be given because an individual is of a particular sex. It should be based on that person's capacity and capability. So I remember during the screening exercise for the ministerial nominees back then, and some were just told to take a bow and go.
I was right.
I faulted the process.
Yeah.
I know this is a woman. Yes, you might not want to ask too many questions because she's a woman. But then
why
she also has
so many
she has to prove a metal. She has to prove a metal as well.
You should ask as many questions as you'd ask the man.
I think Wemimo, just telling her to take a bow and go just sends this message that this individual doesn't know what she's going for.
Yeah.
So you're just allowing her go because she's a woman. We understand you're probably trying to achieve the whole equality thing. You don't want to ask a question that would be embarrassing. But why should it be embarrassing to her if it's not embarrassing to the man?
Right.
Unless you're specifically picking on certain issues that have to do with her womanhood.
And you're
which
deliberately trying to embarrass
her. And for her to have even gotten to that level, it shows you have something upstairs.
Indeed.
Let her display it. Show the world you know what you're in for.
Now, let me go back to the phone lines. Are job roles gender-based? That's my question. Do you think there are some jobs you can't do just because you're a woman or because you are a man? Here are the numbers. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I need you to speak louder. What's your name?
Hello, can you hear me well?
Yes, please. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Shagun.
Shagun, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. It's been cool hearing you. And truth be told, I think this gender and equality issue needs to be addressed, like, let's say, three angles. One is from the professional hand. It's true that there's equality professionally. Women are not allowed to go up that ladder. When you go to big companies and then you see among the managerial roles, just maybe 25% women. The question is it that they are unable? Women are marginalized, so to speak, that they are not allowed to have that experience that would allow them to grow to that function.
Thank you so much.
Let's now look at it from, let's say, the cultural angle. That I would say, yes, the culture has always put the man above and the woman, let's say, underneath. But is that right? When it comes to some decision making, the woman brings better ideas, innovation to the table. And then we say culturally, no, it's not allowed. That's what culture is the way we do things. And that's the way it is in this country. Now, when we now look at it family-wide, well, I am a man with a wife and a boy and a girl. My wife knows I'm the head of the family. But being the head of the family isn't to brag. It comes with responsibility. Responsibility in making the right decisions. Because, okay, my wife works in one of the top 4 audit companies in the world, and she's like a manager there. So she makes good money. I work in the banking sector. I make good money. We both contribute. We carry. When I want to spend, when we want to spend, we talk, we discuss. That is the way it should be. Not, okay, for some people, when the wife starts making money, maybe a bit more than theirs, it becomes a problem for them. Then that's a problem for the man.
Thank you very much. Let me speak with Humphrey, who's been on the line for a while from Costain. Humphrey, welcome to the show.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for holding the line.
That's good. Very interesting topic we are discussing this morning. But let me start from the case, the issue in Cross River. Anytime I remember that story, it breaks my heart. I totally condemn what the governor did. I mean, it's a very negative picture that he's painted, both of himself and of the state, and then of Nigeria generally. But then coming to the issue of women gender inequality. Well, I'm sorry, but this is my position. Like you say, I shouldn't apologize, but I just did. Listen, I don't think it should be tagged women or gender inequality. I think what we should be pursuing is female or women security. Because come to think of it, there can never be anything like gender equality. Let's go back from the beginning, the way God...
Why can't... No, that's going back. I want us to go forward. Why can't there ever be? That's quite assertive. Why can't there ever be?
Okay, it can never be, because by design and the way we are equipped, both from the inside and out, by our nature, there are some abilities and strengths that a man possesses naturally that a woman doesn't.
Give me examples, please. Humphrey, you're not jumping bail off me. Give me examples. What are these abilities?
Okay, let's say the job. Talk about the military. The man is equipped to better handle such tasks. When you talk about, let's say, the construction, when you drive through, you see people doing construction jobs. How many women do you see there?
You think it's because the women cannot do it?
No, even if they go to do it, it is against their nature. This trend, they will not be able to bear. They will break down. But the men are equipped to survive these kind of things. Go back to the beginning. Even when it was the men that go to hunt, it is the men that go to fight.
Did you ever hear or read about the Amazons? Did you ever read in history about female warriors, even in Nigeria? Did you ever read about any?
I did, but that was a very it's a unique thing. Now, when you talk about statistics, you're talking of a higher rating, so you cannot pick one or two few exceptions and then make it.
Oh, okay, thank you. Alexis is at Lekki. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, another lady. Welcome, Alexis.
Yeah, hi.
Are there abilities that men have that you don't have, that you think you can thrive better in just because you're a woman, and they can do better because they're men? We're talking equality. If that's what the case is, let's all agree about it.
I really don't think so, except it comes to work functions that require you to exert some kind of energy, like manually, where we all know that men are genetically more able, or their disposition is they're more able to handle all this manual, stronger kind of jobs. But apart from that, when it comes to intellectual and mental jobs, I don't think there's any advantage of a man over a woman. I wanted to actually react to a statement by one of your contributors on the show. She said something about when it comes to like the lower sphere in a workplace, we have a lot of women, and then the more you progress, it becomes slimmer up that ladder. Well, from my personal experience, I am an investment analyst, and I feel that I have been discriminated by both men and women in the workplace. You know, I'm a mom. Okay, I'm a mom of 3 kids, and then basically when the kids are not feeling well or something happens at home that requires your attention, the woman is actually steps in, because naturally we are more predisposed to the nurturing and the caring partner as opposed to the men. So you're expected to step in, care for the child, and then this actually takes you away from being present at work when this happens. And then when you're in the workplace and then this happens kind of frequently, you know, we as moms, you don't have control over when your child gets sick. They're exposed to, you know, different things in school and wherever. And then you actually take excuse that, please, you know, I need to go to care for my child. I need to be away for some time. When it now comes to maybe promotions and going up the ladder, I observe that. I mean, it's quite commonplace. They take notes of all these times when you've been unavailable at work, and then they use it against you, you know, making it seem like, okay, you won't be able to fit into this managerial position because you're distracted at home. So I'm just wondering, why is it that we tend to be discriminated against, because we are supposed to be the ones that step in this case. I'm speaking for like the working class mom now. Okay.
So while I'm tempted to ask why the men cannot stay with a sick child, and why they cannot take time off work to tend the children that both of you have, what do you suggest should be done at the workplace? Because that's the situation right now, in terms of then, you know, making sure that you have the same access, although you're taking more time off.
Yeah. Well, some men actually offer to help, but we both know that the women do a better job when it comes to caring and nurturing. I think that's just natural.
I don't think I know that for a fact, though.
Okay, as a mom,
I mean, caring and nurturing, what you're talking about is giving a child a bath, feeding them, and putting them to bed, unless you're breastfeeding.
All encompassing. Taking care of the child, feeding, whatever, you know, general outlook of the child. I mean, the women are more naturally predisposed. Most women, some men actually do a good job, but most women are more.
Don't you think it's because we raise our Nigerian women to do this while the men don't? Isn't that why they seem not to know how to do it?
Not just that. That is part of the reason, but I think naturally that is how it's been created. That's how we have been created.
All
and
right.
I think the moms in the I don't know if moms could attest to this on the show as well.
All right, Alexis, thank you very much. I have Paul from Misheri who thinks that women cannot do some things by nature. Paul?
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, the worst thing that can happen, the topic is coming to a more interesting part of it. The worst thing that can happen to an individual is when you lie to yourself. Even the woman knows that there are certain abilities the men have that they do not have.
Okay,
we're just looking at it from the point of a career. You know, before the world evolved to this career level, where were women when it was purely men lifting up heavy-duty machine and other things? Do you think we didn't have educated women that the world were not exposed? You think it's our time now that the world is more exposed than before? Because we're looking at the blue collar, the white collar jobs, the whole system is looking appealing to them. I get my point. There are other jobs. What about blue collar jobs? How many women, when you want to follow statistics, like the second caller was trying to explain, you know, there are things that they don't have the ability to do. It's just
you think they don't have the ability to do it, or they were not given the opportunity to do it?
Even if they give the opportunity, how many women pan wine tapas do you see?
How many women what?
Pan wine tapas. when you look at the blue collar aspect.
And so you think that you think there are no female palm wine tappers?
Nobody stops them.
Don't you think this is because culturally in many of these places, it's even a taboo for a woman to climb a palm tree?
Nobody introduced this system. If they have the ability to change it the way it is, let them do. Nobody stops them.
Are you sure nobody stops? I'm sorry, I don't go this line, but I shouldn't be asking where you're from. I don't like asking. But you don't believe that at these cultural levels, at these villages, it's a taboo, and you're saying nobody stops them. For a woman to climb a palm tree, she has to pay fines for abomination. And you're telling me nobody stops them?
The reason why is because they don't have what it takes.
What does it take to tap a palm tree? I need to know. It's to climb the tree and fetch the wine.
It takes a physical strength.
To climb the tree?
To lift up heavy-duty machine takes a physical strength. Of course, you know that they don't have that.
I don't know that they don't have that. I'm sorry.
Nobody stops them. Let them do what they have the ability to do.
Thank you so much, Paul. Let me speak with Joy before I come back to the studio. My guests are just shaking their heads here. Joy is at Lekki. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, so for starters, your female line took me like forever to get this. So between
Yes, I must apologize. We have just one number for now. There's just one number, so we can't route you through that line for now. Please bear with us.
Okay, so interesting topic. To be fair, a lot of valid points have been made also by the men and also by the women. But women, I guess that you are a moderator on this, but you understand that God is different. There's a reason He created two different genders.
Joy, can you come back on that? The line was breaking, please.
Okay, I said, you know that there's a reason why God created two different genders. Otherwise, we all would have been the same gender. Or completely would have been sexless. So there is a masculine, tougher, stronger role, and there is a feminine, more softer role. What you should be advocating, or what women should be advocating, should be eliminating discrimination for women who want to move into roles that are considered more masculine roles.
But that's the conversation.
No, but the question is, when you say the word equality, it's trying to say that there is a possibility for men to be equal with women. There are things that we can do, no man can ever do.
Such as
they can never have a baby.
That's different. That's physiology. That's physiology. Like a man can't also get pregnant. That's not job role.
Wemimo, it is the same thing. Just like a woman cannot impregnate another woman. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. I'm a woman and I'm a human resources person. And I heard the other caller talking about how she could be not given a lot of roles because of the level of absences that she takes. And you ask her a question, why can't your man take over? If she wants that job, why don't you ask your husband to stay back, care for the kids, so I take care of the business? A business is an organization set up to make profit.
But as an HR person, you agree that when women take more time off work, it then affects the ability to get up the ladder?
I will say it depends on the role. It depends on the role. A role that requires you to travel around a lot wouldn't be well suited for a woman who is nurturing a child, especially if she is predisposed to want to take care of her child. Mind you, in other countries, there are women who naturally do not want to marry or have kids. You understand? So when you put them side by side, you will be treating the woman who does not want to have the child unfairly because based on because of other women who want to have kids, you discriminate against her and say she cannot get a role. This is now where I come in and say this should be treated on everybody's ability to desire what they want to be and not stop be what they want to be.
Thank you, Joy. Let me come to the studio. You've heard enough to make up your mind. I'll just go round before we go on a break. Let me start with you, Bossa.
So much has been said. Well, we know there is inequality. We know people are different. We know we have different physique. We have different attributes and all. But I think the core of this discussion is that when someone has an ability, the opportunity to exhibit it should be made available to that individual. He or she should not be discriminated against because of his or her gender. So for instance, you need an anchor here. It should be based on who can deliver.
Who can do the job.
Who can do the job. Not because the fellow is a man or a woman. But then, because we have noticed that we are in a society that is highly patriarchal, you might want to say, okay, for every 10 men we interview, we want to interview 20 women. Because we know that originally, perhaps, the women wouldn't have the opportunity to come forward. So that is a deliberate step to correct this, and we're leaving no one behind.
Okay.
I think the issue of culture and our beliefs, these two things play a major role in the reasoning of most of our people. It's the culture that makes you feel certain things a woman cannot do. Because over the years, a woman has been known to be the one taking care of the child. If you're abroad with your husband, living in maybe Europe, America, you design how you want to run the home.
What I find interesting is, going back the olden days, is the women don't just nurture the women. They farm. They go through the whole process.
Husbands.
They farm, they harvest, they process. You not only farm, you harvest, you process, you market. So
I really don't know what is wrong with the society. We need stereotypes. We need to address the issue of stereotypes.
Mr. Neji, we're coming back, don't worry. But let me just take this round before we go out on the break.
Yes, a lot have been said. But I think some people are misunderstanding it. The issue of being able to allow a woman to explore an opportunity that is available to a man. The issue of looking at it from the angle of equity, they are misunderstanding it. There's a difference between that there is an opportunity on ground and the woman is not being given an opportunity to exploit.
Just because she's a woman.
There is a barrier, yes. There's an impediment. So they should be allowed to come into it because the bottom line is effective delivery. Like my sister here rightly said, talking about capacity. So if she cannot climb the palm tree, then let it be that she cannot climb the palm tree. If she cannot do a particular job, let it be that she cannot do it because of stamina. But not that something is, constituting impediment or there's a barrier. We all know about the fact that we have been trying to break the glass ceiling. So all this has to do with the issue of the fact that women are being discriminated upon, something is standing in between and all that.
Today I'm taking a position on the show, and my position is very clear. Anything you can do as a human being, be given the opportunity to do it. We don't say that women cannot climb palm trees. Exactly. Oh dear. I know women who can, women hike. Women go mountain hiking. Hello? So we have this stereotype that says all women are just to do this and not to do this. All men and not to do this. I had an argument with someone on Twitter on this matter, and I said to him, do a sample of many of the men in the military. Many of them don't want to be there. They'd rather be musicians, they'd rather be artists, but they're there because of stereotypes that make them feel men should be soldiers. There are women who can fight and who want to be soldiers, but they're not given the opportunity. We're back out of the break with more conversations. Shola Shoyele will be joining us. So we look at her story also that she's done on forced child marriage. Keep the calls coming in. We're back in a moment with more.
Nigeria Info.
99.3. From your number one talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
And the phone lines are still buzzing. I'll try to run through the messages on WhatsApp on the show. It's quite a conversation we're having today commemorating International Women's Day. And you all have your thoughts about equality and rights and access to opportunities. The theme for this year's International Women's Day is Each for All, looking at issues around gender equality and opportunities. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. This is the Morning Crossfire. I have a full house today because it's Friday and we have a partnership running with the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism. Today we're looking at a story also done by Shola Shoyele of Channel Television, and she joins us on the show now. Shola, welcome.
Thank you.
You made it?
Yes, I did.
Okay, let me read some messages coming in from where we were before the break. Where more women have been given enough opportunities, but they don't make use of it. That's coming from Johnson from Aja. Good morning, Wemimo. Rasak Idohu Abraham from Ikorodu. Our judiciary has been bastardized. Let me see. I think you're talking about a story from the front page. I think that's a Shomole story. Jade Sola says it's not because they are smart. If a woman is fit for a position, she will get it. A whole lot of women mess things up by themselves. Oh, interesting. Oro from Ayobo, there's nothing equal in this life. So let's talk about more important issues. This Aurora is very important. Even Fela said it in his song. If you call her a woman, she don't agree. She would like to sit before men. She would like to take a... Even listen to your guest saying women are busy right now. When are they less busy, please? You should tell me. Are you helping them to be less busy to be able to do other things? The thing is, we don't think the same way. Hence, we cannot be equal. When it's coming to love and relationship now, they will be less busy. You're so mean. Agu from Ejigbo says, this is a long one. But those who are still of the opinion that gender inequality isn't a big deal haven't been listening to you, to Rotimi, or to Sandra. That's the truth. Hence, they aren't aware of the big picture and the problems that arise as a result of this inequality, especially when women are marginalized. He says his eyes have been opened by, I have had my eyes opened by your several informed views, and I've seen the world over. The higher you go, the fewer women. Thank you so much. I'm glad you've been listening and you've been paying attention on this Morning Crossfire classroom. Kunle from Ikorodu, if women must get pregnant and raise good children, then they must stay off some jobs. If a man have 4 wives and many children, he will be going about his business or job 24 hours at places like hotels for meetings at odd hours, while the women cannot do the same. Rafael Adegoke, one of our major problems is many of our young ladies of this generation have a myopic mindset that men must provide for their needs. Go to social media and see many ladies crawling into men's inbox to beg for money. Talk about how we've raised and conditioned them to think. Good morning, Wemimo, the great woman in the studio. Bioye from Yaba, I've been trying to call. I'm sorry. Says, thumbs up to the caller for supporting his wife. I don't know why in 2020 Nigerian men still have issues with gender equality. After all, some people think we belong in the kitchen and the other room. Kunle Osho from Moroshoki, gender equality has been with us and will continue to be with us. I think you mean inequality. Says the fight for it will always end up on the doorstep of advocacy. Says corporate organizations are compelled to grant female maternity leave, soften the pedal for the amount of job they do, and hours. Okay. Oh, this is a wide topic, Wemimo, but long and short for me is that women are first humans before gender, and so are men. Whatever is good for any human is good for every human. But for ego, we choose inequality. Even the Bible supports equality, and those who cough out inequality from it are only mistaken tradition for God's word. AY, right there. There cannot be gender equality. For instance, 24 chromosomes for man, 12 chromosomes. Viewing from religious angle, tradition angle, forget gender inequality. From my belief, my faith has assigned roles and limits for women. I beg, return on agenda equality to UN. Abiodun from Lagos. Wemimo, you can see yourself. The difference between man and woman is clear. Everest from Awoyaya. To Joseph from Gwarimpa. Wemimo, your female woman don't damn you or Today, not today. Chinedum from Apapa. Oh, this is long. Let's look at from this perspective. When Dora Akunyili rose to post of DG in NAFDAC and to an information minister, was she denied? When Obi Ezekwesili rose to post of minister, was she denied? In life, you don't get what you deserve, but you only get what you ask for. No one is limiting women when the men are simply doing... What the men are simply doing is test the stuff they are made of. The question is, are women allowed to test the stuff they are also made of? And we have gender equity, not equality. Smith from Ikeja, tell me the difference. I still stand on the ground. There can be... women are most likely to recommend accounting, consulting services, and information services. Oh my goodness, I really just can't keep up. Lots of funny comments. However, I believe the gender inequality problem will be solved through better economic environment and quality education. Good. Thank you all. And this brings us to our next half of the conversation, looking at the story done by Shola Shoyele of Channel Television, and she's right here. She did a story on forced child marriages in Nigeria. We talked about women issues, and all of this stem from the opportunity to go to school when you have children. I still can't imagine it. 11, 12, 13-year-olds being married off, starting a family, raising children, a child, having children, nurturing children, and raising children. It beats me. Tell me what you found out when you were doing this report.
Let me start with a bit of statistics, Wemimo. A 2017 UNICEF report indicates that 43% of girls in Nigeria are forced into child marriage before the age of 18.
43%?
Yes. With 17% of them married off before they turn 15. UNICEF also ranks Nigeria as the country with the 11th highest prevalence rate of forced child marriage in the world. Yes, the figures are typically higher in the Northeast, where there are nearly 3 out of 4 girls are forced into marriage before they turn 18. But then, it's a circle. What I found out was that girls forced into child marriage then go on to have children as children. Mm-hmm. There's sexual coercion. There's early and repeated pregnancies. You find that a lot of them have plenty children. Like the person I talked to in my story, Amina was 27 when I met her, when I did my story. Her mother was forced into marriage at the age of 12. Amina herself was forced into marriage at the age of 12. And her husband was trying to force their 12-year-old daughter to marry a 40-something-year-old man.
Another cycle.
It's a cycle. That's what happens. That's typically what
happens. How does a 12-year-old child get married?
And so Amina resisted it, and someone told her, oh, go to Alausa, go to talk to the domestic and sexual violence.
And this was in Lagos?
This is in Lagos. So people that think that, it happens only in the north, it's not true. It's happening everywhere. Yes, the figures are higher in the north, but it's a reality. It's happening everywhere. And so what you find is that because children are now having children, that reinforces the cycle of poverty. Mm-hmm. More children are dropping out of school. In fact, I think it was UNICEF who says that in Nigeria, that about 10.5 million children are not in school. Of course, majority of them from the north, but it cuts across, it's everywhere. UNICEF says that 10 states in the north and the FCT account for 8 million out of these figures, and majority of them are girls. So,
and someone tell me about why nobody's stopping women from being what they want to be. When as a girl, you've been married off and denied the opportunity to compete with the boys. Is somebody telling me about equality here? Let me ask my guest from FIDA. Now, this is a very big issue. And interestingly, she did this story right here in Lagos. A 12-year-old married off the cycle continues. We have laws in Nigeria. Tell me about those laws that prohibit such. And I want to know why these laws are not being followed.
Well, it has been very, very heartbreaking that the issue of child marriage is still in existence. And really, we have legislation with respect to that. Even our constitution, though we are all clamoring for constitutional review. I think the main problem has to do with the effective implementation of the law. Mm-hmm. We really need to work on having what I call enhanced mechanism that will pave way for effective implementation of the laws. The laws are in place, but they are not well implemented.
We have the
Then
Child
question-
Rights Act.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
In Lagos.
We
in
do.
Lagos, it's domesticated in Lagos.
We do. But the issue is that, just like what one of the callers rightly said about a senator, most of the perpetrators are bourgeois, for real. Okay? And they just don't want it to come to a halt. And they stand on it, and they frustrate everything you're trying to do to make sure that you follow some of these cases to a logical conclusion. Because until you follow them to a logical conclusion, for it to be able to act as a deterrent, then the problem will always be there.
So it appears that we're stuck in a cycle, Funke. So we have, I mean, this reference that we're making is to a lawmaker who married a 13-year-old right here in our faces, and there was nothing anyone could do about it.
Very heartbreaking, really.
I mean, no one did anything about it. Not his fellow lawmakers, not the judiciary. It appears that our hands are tied. Are we stuck in this forever?
Well, I think if we continue with things like this, sensitization, talk about let girls be girls, let brides be brides. If we keep talking about it, we'll get there. But in a situation where we are in Nigeria, a lot of our men, because they are in position of authority, they do things and get away with it. Some beat women. We saw the one that a lady went to the shop and was beaten in Abuja because he's also a lawmaker. That is immunity, the immunity for them. Let laws, we have a lawyer in-house, let laws be made to let a senator, a member of House of Reps, or anybody in position of authority, let them be dealt with accordingly.
But now they're asking for immunity for the principal officers at the Senate, so that now
so that the world, the society will be at their mercy all the time, and they'll get away with it. A small girl married to maybe 50, 60.
It doesn't even matter who she's married to. It's,
What kind of
is that
bride?
even marriage?
What kind of bride will that be?
No, they are not brides, they are girls.
She can't even give consent at that age.
So it's not
No
even
consent,
it's not marriage.
Not old enough to under the law to take any decision on her own, and you give her away to be the bride, the wife of a man.
So many people who are listening, especially the men, I can't keep up with the messages online, would say, "Oh no, this is not our fault." So when we talked about female genital mutilation on the show a while ago, say, "No, it's not my fault. It's the women who say we must do this." So some of them would say it's the women who consent to giving the girls away in marriage. So it's not the man's problem. Bosse.
Well, I believe it's not the women's thing. A woman wouldn't wake up someday and just decide that her 12-year-old or 13-year-old should go get married to some older man or whoever the man is. You know, when this issue of the senator broke, then different sentiments came up. And, you know...
Some religious.
Yes. The nation we are in is a country that has certain sentiments, and people hold on so dearly to their sentiments, such that when you even go the length of trying to say something about it, it's also, you know, it snowballs into something even bigger. So religion came in. Oh, you're free to marry whoever you want to marry. So far, you know,
as long as her father consents,
you know, all those conditions. But then when you look at that child, what becomes of that child? Because that child is a child. She is a child, and until she's, say, 20 or thereabout, 18, when she can actually consent, I want to do this. And even there are some 18-year-olds who we all know still look like young people who still need some level of experience. It doesn't mean that there aren't people who got married at 18 who are doing really well. You know, there are people who have their lives together even at that age. So I think we have to correct whatever obnoxious laws exist, whether it's in our religious books, in our religious circle, in our social circle.
That would be very tough.
That would be tough. But in this case, people bring up the religious sentiment.
But when we even talk about religion, there are Islamic countries that have legislated against polygamy and child marriage. In Saudi Arabia, there are laws, not just Saudi Arabia, many countries where you can't get married unless you are 23. 23. So I don't know what version we have here, but it appears we have a problem, Shola. But from your story, which is a very touchy story, I mean, a 12-year-old, did you find out if there's any way out of this, or are we stuck in all of this?
Interestingly, most of the respondents that I had when I was doing the story was everybody just kept talking about the need for more awareness. Education of the girl child, very important. Because if the girl child is educated, then she can speak up. She knows her rights. No one can force her. In fact, when she gets the 6334 system, that already takes her away from that forced child marriage setting. It takes her away from being given out in marriage early. And the thing is that it's not even a women issue alone. It's an issue for everybody, because forced child marriage underpins economic development. A 2017 World Bank report actually says that Nigeria loses $7.6 billion in earnings and productivity every year. That is what forced child marriage is costing us.
Because we don't have these children contributing to the economy. They're married off someone.
And you see, the larger picture is that when we even talk about insecurity, when a child is forced into marriage, and then that child births another child, and then there are plenty children, and then the poverty circle is entrenched, and they don't go to school, there's no education. Then you're talking about your recruits for Boko Haram. These are the boy child. They're possible recruits for Boko Haram, kidnappings, and then the insecurity continues.
So let me go back to the phones and ask a question, especially because you did this story in Lagos, and many of our listeners are in Lagos. Yeah. So do you know people around you who are practicing forced child marriage, and what have you done about it? You might be shocked that this happened right here in the heart of Lagos, because people bring their cultural biases and religious biases anywhere they live in the country. The phone number again is 0700 993 993 993, 0700 993 993 993. And you can also join on WhatsApp 08095 97 5805, 08095 97 5805. Also on Facebook. I haven't taken comments from Facebook. That's the Nigeria Info 99.3 on Facebook. You can join us there, and also on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Let me take one from WhatsApp before I go to the phone line. This is from Raphael Adegoke. The implementation of the law cannot be applicable in Nigeria, where we have the customary, Islamic, and constitutional law. In the northern part of Nigeria, the customary and Islamic law is applicable, and that's why constitutional laws do not apply to them. Great that we have a lawyer in the house. I've been trying to understand this, actually. Why do we have different laws? It appears that Nigeria is not governed by a universal law. Different things apply in different parts of the country. Can you explain that to us?
Well, I've said it before, that implementation goes a long way. And over the years, we have the penal code that is applicable to the north, and then the criminal code down here.
Why did we have that?
Now, that's Nigeria for you. That's not even the main problem. The main problem has to do with the fact that even under the other legislations or some international legal instruments that Nigeria has domesticated, when they domesticate these laws, each state still have to adopt the laws. So, if a state, delays or refuses to adopt those laws into their own state, then.
But are they compelled? Are they bound to domesticate this law, seeing that there's a penal code? And must they domesticate?
That's one of the things we all have to advocate and amplify our voices for the government to really help.
Let me
because I see no reason why a law should be domesticated in a country, then
and the state will refuse to do the same. Please let me speak with John. It's been on the line from Surulere. John, good morning. Hello, John.
So this thing depends on
John, please say that again.
I said the reason why I'm calling is that I just want to make a contribution that it depends on people's backgrounds. If a lady grows up with her parents and she's close to her dad, there are some certain things she adopts from the man, and she feels that that's how all men are. So it's very difficult for her to change. It's the same thing for a guy. So if he's close to his mom, there are some certain things he sees in his mom that he doesn't see in another woman. So it's difficult for him to adopt. So I think this is based on who the female is actually close to. Most of the time, you see a lady saying, I don't understand why a guy shouldn't watch football. I don't understand why a guy shouldn't go out with guys to drink. And there's a particular people who don't drink, who don't watch ball. But for the female, she's finding it difficult to understand.
Because she's been conditioned. That's how she's conditioned to think. Thank you, John. Let me speak with Dixon Tikoyi. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to the show.
I'm not contributing to the. I've been listening to all the comments and everything. But one question I want to ask: do we believe that we are created? Somebody created us. God created us, and He gave us a commandment to follow.
Your line is very bad, Dixon. I'm really, really trying to hear you. Your line is very bad.
Okay, sorry for that. Can you hear me clearly?
You make it fast. I want to get your question.
Yes, the point I'm trying to make, we should remember that we are created by God. And God gave us a commandment or law. And no other command, no other law supersede that law. Because we should always remember we came from Him and we must go back to Him.
What exactly are you referring to? The women inequality issue or the first child marriage?
What I'm trying to, no child is forced to marry somebody. It is wrong for you to marry before you are married. So even I don't think that they read that. It's not a bad. Even God giving us chance that we should choose either begin to serve Him or to serve who we like. It is by choice.
All right, thank you very much. Olo, I believe, is at Papa. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. Please take 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yes, it's important to understand why we can't have the same laws applicable all the country, all over the country.
Okay.
Because of our heterogeneity, we are not a homogeneous society. We have laws that respect our different customs and culture and religion. We cannot not have uniform application of laws. Even the criminal law, the penal code, is a criminal law applicable to the north. The other is for the south, and the same thing with our traditional laws.
But do you think we should revoke this since we're one country?
Yes, but we cannot have, because the law must respect the religion and culture of a people. Let me give you an example of polygamy. Okay? Polygamy cannot be a criminal case, a crime in Nigeria, because some culture respect polygamy. In Europe, it is a crime to have polygamy. It cannot be the same in Nigeria. The same thing, we have abolished certain things, killing of twins, religious sacrifice, human sacrifice, because they are repugnant to natural justice, good conscience, and the equity. However, there are some practices that the law must realize. It's called personal laws. And these personal include marriage, divorce, maybe custody of children. The way we do it within our own something. So that's why we have diversion of laws.
Thank you very much. Let me go to Facebook as we begin to leave. Atoda Kaide Samuel says, I really appreciate your guests from FIDA. As a man, I was at their office recently and I was surprised that they never reckoned the majority of us there that they were women. They attended to us very well. Of course. We're talking about equality. we treat you well. You treat us well. Right, that's it. Noridia says equality or equity or even proportionality. Hey, say grammar. And then he goes on to explain. Go on to Facebook and read the explanation. Let me take a short one from Simon Ojewala, who says, Wemimo, in my office, men are being marginalized. They employ 5 women, no men. We are marginalized as men. The men need to pay bills, take up responsibility. Everybody should pay bills and take up responsibilities. That's what I think. And if you don't have work, they will believe you are destitute and unproductive. I'm sorry about that. I think someday we'll talk about how men also feel about this issue and how society also treats them, which I think is not fair. Also, not fair. But guys, we really need to go. It's been a full house today. I must thank all my guests for coming in. Mrs. Phil Neji has joined us from FIDA this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Funke Fayemi and Bosede Moria, past fellows of the Wole Soyinka Center. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And Shola Shiele is a reporter with Channel TV. Thank you for that fantastic report.
Thank you very much.
Guys, it's Friday. You know how excited I am because I'm not talking to you until Monday. But we can keep talking on social media. I'm there at Wemimo Sport. And I'll be telling you more. We can have more conversations. Tunji Andrews is here. He'll be telling you what to expect on the Money, Business and Economy show coming up right after this break. Tunji, welcome.
Good morning, good morning.
So there goes again the gender equality conversation. Did you listen?
No,
I know you were red in the face the last time.
Yeah,
well, you needed to listen to the comments this morning. Well, let's keep. You look nice, by the way.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
You very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you
What's
very
coming
much.
up at 9:30?
So we today is our Greek Friday, so we tend to look at our Greek related stories, and we're going to be having Deji Rotimi with us in the studio. So yes, it promises to be
I hope you're talking about women in agriculture too.
Well, the ecosystem is messed up for both genders. It's a lot worse for women because women are particularly seen as bottom of this ladder in terms of agriculture. So it's more like menial labor. You won't really hear discussions of a woman-owned farm, in major discussions. So that's. But
they do a lot of work on the farm.
Exactly.
But
They're
you can't
involved,
own the land to then have the farm.
Manpower, they probably like maybe 60% or so. But in terms of really owning the value chain, no, it's really lopsided.
That's a tough one. I'll be seeing you all on Monday morning. The show starts at 6 a.m. Big thanks to everyone on the team. Have a fabulous weekend, but stay around because there's more conversation coming up on Nigeria Info. I'm Wemimo Adewuni on social media as Wemimo Sport. Let's keep talking.